Who the Wild Things Are with Ryan McGuire.
You gotta listen to your body.
Oh my God, maybe, I could get out there, I could do this.
Let's take a ride, find your wild side, real stories, see with your own eyes.
It's so beautiful.
I'm gonna have the best time out here.
I was in tears. I was like, that's the best, man.
He really needs no introduction, but it feels right. I'm probably gonna give him one anyways. He's a bushy from Australia. That's what they call them, bushies. Basically someone that just lives out on the Australian plains, wild animals, as you know, crazy lifestyle. He's been living with indigenous peoples there, been taming wild horses, cuddling with crocodiles, hunts animals barefoot. He's out of his mind, but he's also well known for his survival skills. He's done the recent stint on Naked and Afraid. So yeah, his name is Adam Kavanaugh. He's an absolute legend. So that's enough for me. Let's get Adam on here and let's hear from him. He's in Australia, so this will be the first time that we try live across the world. Hopefully we can get him on here. Hey, there he is.
Hey man, what's going on?
Hey, how you doing? Can you hear me all right?
Yeah.
Awesome, dude. Good to see you.
Yeah, likewise, man. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. You look a lot cleaner than when I saw you on Naked and Afraid.
Only a little bit cleaner.
Yeah, that's what's up, man. That was an epic show. That was a crazy adventure.
Yeah, it was pretty legit, man. Yeah, it was like definitely the hardest thing I've done to date for sure.
Wow, and you've done a lot of hard stuff, so that says something.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, even though it was a TV show, like, I guess that's the first TV show I've ever done. I thought, like, I wasn't too sure what to expect, but no, it was legit, man. Like, it was definitely the hardest thing I've ever done,
That's good to hear that there's still, there's some integrity there.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Awesome. So, Adam, give me and everybody else just like a little bit of background. Like, how did you become a bushy? Were you raised in an outdoors family? How'd that work? Yeah,
actually, I don't know. There's probably going to be a bit of lingo and stuff you don't understand. Just let me know. So yeah, when I was a kid, I was basically born in what we call like a more rural area, like a more country setting. So I'm actually off a cattle property. Yeah. So when I was young, I was born in it was like a cattle grazing area. So yeah, I was pretty lucky as a kid to kind of grow up on a farm. And then even once I got a little bit older, like my dad started working in the coal mine. So we moved to town. But even then, realistically, it was still like a really outback sort of quiet area. Like, it's really small country town anyway. So it's still was always in the bush, whatever the case, even in town, if that made sense.
Yeah. Awesome. And then, you kind of followed in your footsteps or your dad's footsteps. How did that work with you becoming a coal miner? When did that start?
Yeah, I guess both my parents really, they're both from the country farm setting. So it's pretty growing up, my dad's always been in the mines. And then, as I got older, I think I was 19 and I was living in the coal mining town. And basically it's like, if you lived in the coal mining town, you got a job in the mines because it's pretty good money.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was pretty much what I was always going to do, I'd had a few ideas about other stuff I wanted to do, but then it just, when you're in a town and the best jobs, the best money's in a mine, at the time, that was just seemed like the best idea.
Yeah, it seems like mines have a very cyclical nature. There's a lot of country songs about that, right? You kind of know from birth that you're meant to be down in the dirt.
Yeah. Although, I gave up the coal mining. It was a bit over 4 years ago, and I don't think I'll go back to it now. But yeah. Anyway, it was a cool job, but I definitely don't think I'll go back.
So how did that go? One day you just decided, no more coal mines for me. I'm going to go hunt boars barefoot.
To be honest, I still did a lot of hunting and fishing when I was in the mines because I still lived in a really small town and just had the bush on my doorstep. So, to be honest, actually the reason, like even when I was in the mines, I had the feeling I was like, oh, like it's an all right job, but I could just tell like it's not really what I want to be doing, and the money is kind of like what keeps you there.
Yeah.
But I actually got really sick. So like in your neck, you've got like a thyroid gland, and it was a combination of things, probably like lifestyle, diet, stress related. My thyroid played up, which is probably like a very rough way to put it. Like there's a lot more to it than that. But yeah, I got really sick and started like doing a few different things to fix my health, and then eventually got to that stage where I realized one of the things that had to go, I was like, I got to give the mining away, like the shift work and working night shift and stuff really definitely wasn't helping my health situation.
Was there a lot of people that had ailments like similar to that? Do a lot of people get sick these days in mines?
I mean, it's probably this, like, I mean, I know you guys have coal mines over there as well. So there's definitely like a lot of coal mine related illnesses. To jump into like the health sort of stuff, definitely if you work in the mines and you do shift work, you definitely have like an increased risk of like very specific kind of health conditions like obesity, heart disease, diabetes, just to name a few. Like it definitely increases your risk of those things. I didn't know too many people that had the same health issue as me. Like I think it was very like I can't say it was just the mines that did that. Like it was definitely food related as well. Like I found out I was like gluten intolerant, I guess, but I had to find that out for myself. And then I found out that if I eat like bread or wheat or anything like that, that'll trigger off my thyroid. And when it triggers off, I get pretty sick. So yeah, like not eating those foods basically is what fixed my health. But it was just like that. I could just tell that if I wanted to be a more healthy, the mines had to go and the shift work had to go.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that world is foreign to me. So you ditch the mine and then you decide, I'm going to take my 4x4. I'm going to go out into kind of just the Australian plains and start living there. Did you do that alone? Was that something that you like talked to friends about, or you just said, I'm out of here and bounced?
When I was 19, I remember I had like this little journal, if you want to call it that I'd write like ideas in. And I'd written down the idea that like I wanted to travel Australia, and I started to like even write a list of all the things that I'd take. And I really don't even know why I did that, because at the time it just seemed like such an impossible thing to do. Like I was like, oh, I'll never travel Australia or something or anything like that. But when I got sick, I kind of realized how short life was. And I was like, stuff, I've got nothing to lose. Financially, I was in a pretty good position. So I kind of just thought, well, actually, see, in the process of like healing myself, I guess you could say, I realized that the more I used to be like really OCD and like, always have to wash my hands, and which is weird considering that I used to be a kid and play in the mud and grab bugs and stuff. But like, I guess over time, as I got older, like I got a bit OCD, and like I'd always wear heaps of sunscreen and just become very frail as a person, I guess. And then through the process of like healing myself, this is why I was in the mines, I realized that the more I got back to basics and the more primitive I got, the healthier I got. So like it was the same with food. Like I used to eat like, pizzas and whatever, which I'm sure most people do, but I just personally, I can't do that now. For my own health, I did, I guess you guys call it paleo over there, or just like the Caveman Diet. like that's what I did to initially heal myself of like my thyroid condition. And then over time it was weird, like just that word caveman, I was like, I realized, you know, like the more I got back to the most primitive, stripped down basics way of living, the healthier I got. So then that, like the paleo diet turned into like not wearing shoes, and then that turned into like, you know, not wearing a shirt and just constantly, and then spending more time in nature. Which obviously as a kid, I was basically always walking around naked or, you know, whatever. And, you know, turning over rocks and catching bugs and lizards and snakes and stuff. But yeah, it was funny. Like I've gone so far away from that now I've done like a full 360, and like to heal myself. Yeah, it was like the same thing, like just stripping things down more and more, and, you know, doing more fishing and hunting, and just like really finding the passion for that stuff again. And then it's just, yeah, like basically that's how this whole journey started. Like I just had this idea of like, shit, like, you know, like I'm stripping everything down to basics. Like how cool would it to be to go live in the bush, even if that was a possibility? I didn't even know if that was something you could do until I started traveling Australia. And then it's like, yeah, the last 4 years I've just really, it's been a process of learning all this stuff and diving into it more and more, and yeah, seeing like how much I can strip back. And yeah, it's just, yeah, I'm pretty passionate about it.
It's been exciting to watch. I've been following, you know, your journey for a while, and I think there's definitely something to that. Like when we're kids, we do very simple things a lot of times because it's brain hormones, our brain and hormones being released, right? So you run a lot and you like being barefoot in the woods because your dopamine receptors are just firing. And then you kind of get stuck into a school or a job, and those things are like pushed out of the way. And then we become kind of cavemen with this weird computer attached to our hand, and everyone's really confused and anxious, and no one's really sure why. But there's definitely some brain chemistry, right, to that. Like when you get back to those essential things that you know make you happy, and it doesn't have to be running or, you know, living in a mud teepee, but, you know, those more basic human elements, I think everyone's brain kind of reacts in a positive way to that.
Yeah, like that's been a big part of my journey as well. Like I'm pretty passionate about like mental health and you know, like all around well-being. So when my thyroid played up, like one of the biggest things that it did to me was like it really affected my mental health. And like it gave me like really severe depression, anxiety, panic attacks, like basically a lot of stuff which I'd never really had before. So a lot of the reason that I was like going barefoot and spending more time in nature and stuff was a lot of it was to work out like how can I make my mental health better as well as my like just all round health. So it's really been like a big learning and a big journey around all of that. And that's, to be honest, like, yeah, a lot of the journey was to do with that as well. It's like, oh, you know, what makes me happy? And it's like, well, all right, like what did I do as a kid that made me happy? And it was like being in nature and catching bugs and putting frogs in my pants and weird shit like that. I mean, I haven't done that. Like I don't put frogs in my pants now, but I mean, I've got back to, yeah, I would, yeah, for sure. Yeah, and that's been huge too. And like I'm passionate about like wanting to help people with this stuff as well. So yeah, I've been lucky enough to, I guess, work with a lot of people that are in this field and have a lot of knowledge around this stuff and try to incorporate it into my life as well. But yeah, that's been one of the biggest learnings. It's just like when you strip your life back, really get back to basics, just like the most simple stuff, like being in nature, fishing, walking around, hiking barefoot, you know, just getting a little bit of sun on your skin. Like it really helps your mental well-being as well. So yeah, that's been a lot of the process as well.
And it's a hard world, to navigate now because there's so many other things. It used to be that this is the way and this is kind of how we acted as humans, but now we have so many other choices, so many other things that might be appealing or more stimulating, and it's easy to get lost. And I always felt like for me it was always a place to kind of recenter, and definitely where I've always felt mentally the most sharp and the most like sane. Like I feel like my brain, in a weird way, people think like caveman, dumb dude with a club, but I think my brain is like incredibly quick, and I'm always solving problems, and I'm so much more in tune when I'm out in the bush versus if I'm stuck in some room with like screens all around me. Then I feel like my brain is much less active.
Like as weird as it sounds, even what I've found for me personally is I guess it's kind of like food related as well, but I used to think it was normal that, like, during the day, like this is a lot to do with that, like I guess what you're talking about. Like I feel like really you'd hit like lunchtime or like mid-afternoon, and like you'd be looking to have a sleep somewhere, or you'd feel really tired, or just your brain would like start to get a bit slower as the day went on. And I just thought that was normal, hey, to be honest, like because I felt like I'd always lived that way. But by eating more like whole foods and meat, vegetables, and fruit, if you want to call it that, like just by eating a more basic way of eating, definitely I don't have that afternoon slump anymore, which I'm sure like a lot of people probably. Well, I used to think it was normal, but I don't have it now. Like I wake up and I've just got like pretty consistent energy all day.
Yeah,
and part of that too is like my brain is just like, not to say I'm like intelligent or anything like that, but my brain definitely works a lot better with the lifestyle I'm living now, for sure, than how I used to live, for sure.
That's awesome. And I think it shows. It seems like, I mean, just in the small time I've been following you, like there's been so many new skills. I remember you were doing like primitive skills, and now all of a sudden you're like a wild horse trainer. I don't know where the hell that came from, but I watched one day. I was like, oh, Adam's got a horse. No. He's got 2 horses. 3 is like, what's going on?
To be honest, when I was on the farm as a kid, I definitely am not a horse expert or anything like that. As a kid, like I've been around horses, and like maybe I can count on one hand how many times I've ridden a horse. And I'd had a few bad experiences as a kid, like with a horse, like one, trying to knock me off by running under a tree and stuff like that. So I kind of swore that I'd never have anything to do with horses. Like, I mean, it's a pretty harsh thing to like just put on myself at such a young age, but I was like, oh, horses are like pretty savage. It's funny, the more time I've been spending up in Dormagee, which is where I am, like, so at the moment I'm currently like, I've been staying in a remote Indigenous community on like Indigenous land, and there's a lot of wild horses there. So my Indigenous mates there, they catch a lot of the wild horses, then break them in, they call it, or maybe like a nice way to put it is like they tame or train the horse to be rideable. And like I guess I'd seen them doing that, and I sort of thought, I was like, oh, like, I'm not a really big fan of horses, but like, hey, like I'm spending all this time in the bush anyway. Yeah. Like I've got the option there. Like I could, play around with a wild horse. So initially my mates caught me a wild horse. I've had some ups and downs already. Like, I don't know the best way to put it, but my mates caught me a wild stallion. It was like the second day I had it. It bit me in a really bad place, so I couldn't walk for a few days.
Where did it bite you?
On the genitals. Like, it was so bad, man. Like like pretty much when that happened, I was even thinking, I was like, this is why I didn't go near horses. But anyway, I didn't let it sour me. I had a few days to cool off. Like, it's not like there's a good hospital or anything in the area. It's like a really tiny hospital. First thing I went to like the hospital, and I was like, probably want to check this out, you know, like, but anyway, they're like, oh no, you'll live. And I was like, oh, cool. But normally I'll like get like really severe injuries and I'll never go to the hospital, but I can tell you that was one. I was like, I'm not mucking around with this one.
You didn't want to take a chance there.
Yeah, so I ended up calling that horse Bluey, because he literally gave me blue balls.
That's awesome.
Anyway, so I have another horse there, like a painted horse, I think they call it.
Mm-hmm.
This young filly. And yeah, like randomly this little wild foal showed up. So something's happened to its mother. I don't know what happened. But anyway, that's the horse I've been doing a lot of work with and spending most of my time with, is this little foal at the moment. So yeah, got like a little I think the colour's bay. But yeah, I've got like a little bay foal.
Nice.
Now, so
you guys,
yeah.
I mean, after they break them, do you usually breed them, or do they become colts, or do they become geldings? What's the protocol, or does it just depend on kind of temperament?
Yeah, I think it depends. It's kind of funny. A lot of the wild horses in the indigenous area that I'm staying. Hey, someone said, "Don't forget about the dog." Yeah, I rescued a wild dog as well. I mean, not a wild dog.
Me too.
You call it a dump dog. There's a lot of stray dogs around Dumaji as well, and there's like they're like domesticated dogs that have kind of gone wild again, and they breed up out at like the dump or the transfer station. So I found a pup. So I'm getting a collection of animals happening now. But anyway, back to the horses. That was my partner that actually did Naked and Afraid. That reminded me about that, Samantha.
Okay.
Yeah, so they'll catch the wild horses, train them up, and then literally just let them go again. But I guess the horses realize that you get food and water when you hang around people. So these wild brumbies that are being caught, they'll get trained to be rideable, and then they'll just let them go, and they just hang around the town then. So then there's the town is just, it looks like some old Western movie. There's just horses walking up and down the street. It's pretty crazy. So yeah, but yeah, they do. They like to keep the horses with the better temperaments, like the nicer horses, and yeah, like any of the stallions potentially. Yeah, they could be turned into geldings, or yeah, they just play it. But yeah, it's pretty rough. So yeah. Anyway,
so
it's something that not most people.
I was going to say, do they end up breeding them, or does most of that happen kind of out in the wild?
But yeah, like I guess depending if the people want a certain color or something like that, I have seen people go to the effort of like penning the horses off and breeding them. But to be honest, all the wild horses, they got their own breeding going on. So yeah, there's plenty of wild horses getting around. Yeah,
no doubt. Yeah, the puppy thing is a new one for me too. I got a puppy. She's kind of from the streets, got a broken tail, but she's pretty cute. So it's been a fun thing. But yeah, so was yours a Mastiff, or what kind of dog is that?
I think it's like, yeah, it must have like, it potentially has some Mastiff in it, or we call the breed, I think it's like Bull Arab, something like that. But we like in general, that breed of dog in Australia, like we'll just call them like a pig hunting dog. Like that's the general breed. Like they're a much bigger dog.
Yeah, that's perfect for you, pig hunting dog.
Yeah, that's cool, man. That you've rescued one as well. It's kind of, yeah, it's a pretty cool thing to do. Like apparently, you know, like rescue animals always make the best pets. Yeah. So far, yeah. Amy said it's her name's Willow. So far, she's been cool, man. Great, and yeah, she's named after a very versatile slender plant. She's kind of she looks like a fox mixed with a coyote. She's kind of like a
I don't know, little big-eared animal. She's got a broken tail. It's weird, but she's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned the broken tail. That little dog I rescued, it's got like this weird zigzag right at the end of its tail. Like, I don't know what's happened to it, but its tail's, something's been broken it as well. And it's got like this cool little lightning bolt shape in its tail. Like, I mean, it's probably not ideal, but I don't know.
That's like
I don't know what you do about that. I think it's just part of the dog now. Same as yours, I guess.
Yeah, they should be friends. They could be little lightning bolt tail friends. So you start living in the bush for a couple years, and then what happened? You get approached by Naked and Afraid. How did that whole thing play out? Was that, always did you always have like TV in the background of your head, or was it something that just kind of fell in your lap?
To be honest, when I quit my job to travel Australia, the only, I guess, idea that I had was to just try to enjoy nature and have as many adventures as I could, like that to be honest, that's the only game plan I really had then. And I didn't think I'd be doing it this long either. But over time, I guess I just had more and more adventures and just haven't wanted it to end. So I've just, been doing more and more of my own adventures. And then randomly, Discovery Channel sent me a message over Instagram actually, and asked me if I'd potentially want to do Naked and Afraid. And I thought it was actually a joke in the beginning, because as far as I knew, it was only like American people that would be on the show, because it's like an American show, obviously. And yeah, like they're like, no, like this is serious. We'd love to get you on if you want to have a crack at it. Because I think normally the process is, you can apply to do the TV show, but I never applied for it. Like I always watch the show. Like I love watching the show, but I never thought it was actually something that I could apply for, being Australian. So yeah, when they got the message, I'm not going to lie, I actually said no like 3 times, because I was pretty nervous, because like when you like even with my survival skills, I guess you always have self-doubt, and I'm like, like I know a few little things, but like, do I really know enough to actually go and, have a crack at this? Like not even the TV side of it, like just in general, like do I have the skills to do this?
Right.
And then I think it was like on the third time when they asked me, the 4th time when they asked me, I was kind of like, you know what, I'm okay to have a crack at this. If I fail, I fail. Like, that's okay. It's just going to be the whole world that's going to see you fail. That's all.
And you'll be naked.
And yeah. To be honest, I wasn't even worried about the naked part. I was just more worried about like actually surviving in general. I guess I spend so much time half naked in the bush. Being fully naked actually really wasn't the most, it wasn't the biggest deal for me, but yeah, that's kind of how that came about. And then like the way it's kind of looking is that potentially, like my adventures could lead somewhere. Well, I did. It led to me getting on Naked and Afraid, which is it's been a really cool experience. And I can see my partner is actually watching the live feed here. So hey, Samantha. It was just a really cool experience. And to be honest, like I'd love to go back and have another crack at it, or potentially do something else, or try to take this somewhere, like take people out with me in the bush and give them some kind of experience. Like, yeah, I'd love to keep exploring this avenue for sure.
Awesome. That's a great story. I'm curious, Adam, how old are you?
33. It's kind of bad. I forget how old I am. Yeah, I'm 33.
Yeah, you got to count with your fingers sometimes. I forget all the time. No, that was awesome. I did get to see most of the episode for everybody watching. It's a very recent episode of Naked and Afraid. I'm not even sure what's the best way to watch it.
I think at this stage it's on Discovery Plus, which is like an app they've put out. But in like 5 days, like on Easter Day, the episode I did with Samantha, that's the day it's released.
Awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. So you guys are still close, still talking and communicating. It seems like you guys got really lucky. You know, you jived really well. I am not a huge TV guy, but I've caught some of those episodes where they, you know, don't necessarily like one another. And that can be tough to be, you know, in any kind of situation when you're remote with somebody that you don't particularly enjoy their company. It can be tough.
Yeah, like to be honest, I watch the show a lot, so I know that like you can have the clash of personalities and that side of things. But yeah, I was pretty lucky with Samantha, like my partner that I did the show with. I mean, you really don't know until you're out there, but yeah, we were lucky. We got along, and there really wasn't like clashes of our personalities, which was good because I think like that's one aspect of the show as well. Like you're surviving, it's being filmed. Potentially, if you don't get along with your partner, then like there's like it adds a whole another level of difficulty to the challenge. So yeah, it was great that we, you know, both were pretty easygoing and got along, because then it just makes not to say that it makes it easier. Like the challenge is pretty hard in general, but definitely like it's just like one aspect. You're not like arguing with someone. You can just put your heads together and like just try to survive the best you can. Because yeah, it's pretty legit. Like coming from me personally, who's like never done TV before, I wasn't sure how legit the TV would be. You know, I'm like, oh, like the show would be. I'm like, oh, you know, do they like? Is there any like fluffery that happens behind the scenes? But it was legit, man. Like they're just there to record and document your survival journey. So yeah, we had some pretty rough ups and downs, and yeah, just thankfully we made a good team, because like there was some pretty hectic stuff that happened, like dehydration. Yeah, you know, like some situations got pretty serious that didn't get showed, that didn't make it to air. But yeah, there was some pretty tough times, and yeah, having a good partner definitely must have made my experience a lot easier. So like when I do see the episodes where people fight and clash, like I just can't even imagine how much harder it must be to have that dynamic in that survival situation.
Yeah, it's like you're as hangry as you're ever going to be, because you're running on like 30 to 100 calories a day. You guys had, you know, almost nothing. Is there anything that that didn't make the show that you're like, dang, I wish I would have shown that?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely, like, you would definitely say, like, we ate some food. We didn't eat a hell of a lot, but there was some pretty cool moments. Like, there was like these little freshwater crabs.
Oh.
And my partner, Samantha, like, she got pretty good at catching them. So, yeah, we made a pretty good team. Like, we're both just, like, at the end of the day, it's like you'd come back and you'd pool our food together and share it. But, yeah, to be honest, she got really good at catching a lot of the crabs. So, yeah, that helped a lot. And even then, really, like, even, like, when you say that, like, you get some crabs and stuff like that, it really wasn't that much. But it was, I don't know, it was more like it was food for motivation. Then really like the calories that you're getting out of it was like not a lot. It's like better than nothing. But yeah, like every time Samantha would like bring food back, it was just like this boost of motivation.
Yeah.
And it was cool to see. Yeah, like she leveled up as a hunter for sure out there. And so that was one thing. Yeah, it was like her catching crabs, and I mean there was a few other food sources that we had that never made it to air. But like that would have been cool to see, you know, like maybe a little bit more of that. It wasn't enough. Like I can see why it didn't really make it into the show. Like it wasn't really I guess it wasn't like the highlight of it all. But yeah, and it would have been cool to see. And then also, I guess in a way that the show, like not to knock the show, like I think it, like realistically as far as like an edit goes, like this is all new terminology for me. I've never done TV before. Like we were lucky, we got a pretty good edit, but there was definitely situations where even like Samantha made tools and shoes and stuff that they never made it to air. So the honey, to be honest, the honey was like probably the most crazy shit that happened on that show. Like that was just batshit crazy collecting honey. Samantha actually had to make shoes so we could even get to the honey. There was like, we call them goat heads in Australia, but there's like these little, like really, really bad prickles, like absolutely, like they cripple your feet. If you stand on them, like you just literally, like you just, like they're crippling. So she had to make these cool, it was like these water reed shoes. She like literally like, thatched these water reed shoes together, and that's how we actually made it up to the honey. And it would have been cool to show that, because I think that was like definitely a really important part of that event in getting the honey. Is like we actually wouldn't have probably got the honey without those shoes, because you couldn't actually walk over the goat heads.
Yeah.
So yeah, that would have been cool if they showed that as well. It was just like, yeah, how badass my partner like was. So yeah, but I think they still do good at it. Like they showed enough of each of us. But yeah, just a few little things like that and yeah, just some other stuff that she made. I reckon that would have been cool to make it in there. But anyway.
Awesome. Yeah, she seemed like she absolutely had some really good artistry skills. Like she could turn nothing into something kind of on a touch of a dime. So that was cool to see. And then your kind of hunting and foraging background, the honey thing, I was like, this dude is a psycho, just a straight up psycho. I have, I don't fear much in the bush. I'm a lot of times in bear territory and a lot of mountain lions and stuff like that. But for me, I've had really bad allergic reactions to bees. So that's one of those things that I always have to be careful with, because I never carry an EpiPen and I'm usually alone. So it's like one of those things that's a little bit more imminent and life-threatening. So like when I saw you just get like head first into there, and I thought you were going to get like one or two combs. You didn't stop. You literally it was like you were scraping the pot with all that honey. It was insane.
To be honest, I've never done that before.
It looked
actually, so I guess kind of, it's really funny actually. Luke, who's another person who's done Naked and Afraid. I don't know if you know that Luke's Holistic Survival School. Anyway,
yeah, I think so.
He like had the big long dreadlocks on the show. Yeah. But Luke actually came to Australia and I got to hang out with Luke, and it was funny enough. He kind of was like smoking some of the bees out. We found a beehive in the Grampians, it's called, down here in Australia, like down in the south of Australia. And actually, he's one of the big motivators for me and mentors as far as survival skills go as well. Like, I guess I just love being in nature and hunting and stuff. And then to see him doing the primitive stuff, I was like, wow, like that's really cool. Like it's definitely a motivator. But anyway, yeah, like he was having a bit of a crack at smoking these bees out and stuff. And from memory, I think it was like, it just made him more mad. And I think it didn't go anywhere. So I guess my first experience of smoking bees, I can't remember. Well, like maybe there wasn't honey or something, but like I could see, I was like, oh, like the smoke definitely, like does something to the bees, but I'd never personally done it, myself or anything before. So I didn't really know if it was going to be successful, but I'd found that beehive and basically said to the camera crew, I was like, oh, I found a cave full of bees. I guess that's one thing too. I think people could probably think some stuff like that staged. The camera crew, they had no idea there was a beehive there, or a bee cave. I found it, and then I said to them, I was like, I guess I was pretty hesitant actually. It was actually Samantha, my partner. She's like, I'm pretty keen for honey, and I was like, well, righto, let's go have a crack at it. And like the camera crew are concerned about your safety to a degree. And they actually asked me like, "Oh, are you allergic to bees?" And to be honest, I was like, "I have no idea." I'm like, "We're about to find out." So I had no idea. Like Samantha made the shoes. I grabbed some of the coals. We went up and honestly, it's weird. It's like when you're out there in that survival situation, it's like I was like outside of my body watching myself do the things. It's like it nearly wasn't even me doing them. Like it was just such a weird, crazy experience. But I knew there was a lot of honey in the cave. Like I think from memory on the show, I don't know if there's really been a successful attempt in people getting honey from the bees, or like if they have, it's been very minimal. So I knew there was bees there. I didn't realize they were like the Africanized honeybee, or killer bee, I should say, or they're like some hybrid of that. But anyway, I just made like the biggest rip roaring fire and just smoked the bees out. And I was actually surprised. I was like, oh shit, like it's actually working. But yeah, like to be honest, craziest thing I've ever done, man. And then yeah, like so I don't think they show it, but like I grabbed a little bit of honey, and Samantha actually said to me, she's like, "Oh, like I think we've got enough honey. Like maybe you should like go now." And I was like, I started to like crawl out of the cave, and then I said to her, I was like, "It's probably not a good idea, but I'm going back in. I'm going to fill this pot." So I just kept grabbing honey and just absolutely filled the pot. Like it was just, I thought go big or go home, and thankfully didn't get messed up too badly from the bees.
Did you get stung a couple times, or what? Just maybe a couple? Yeah,
I got like one. I laid down on the rock, and then one like bit me on the stomach.
Mm.
And I guess it's like a side of the show that people don't get to see. But I won't use a swear word. The bees absolutely messed up the camera crew. Like all the camera crew got absolutely effed up from the bees. Like, because we were in the smoke in the cave, we were kind of in that, like, not to say it's a safe zone, but at least in that the bees were kind of not hanging around in the smoke so much. So because Samantha was like really close to the cave as well, like we had bees and shit all over us, but I don't think Samantha really, like got bitten. I got the one on the stomach, so I just like kept laying on it because I know there's like pheromones and stuff, and I thought, oh, like hopefully if I keep laying on my belly, like the other bees won't attack me. But because the camera crew were outside that smoke zone trying to like record it, they got absolutely hammered from the bees. Like,
no,
I'm surprised they actually even got the footage. I think it was like the one guy, like, yeah. Anyway, like, yeah, it was just absolutely crazy. Like, but when you're there, it's like you kind of forget the camera crew's there. So we were just in the moment doing what we were doing. We didn't know what they had going on, but yeah, they just said that they got pretty messed up.
That's awesome. Anyway. One thing I was wondering is like, it seemed like Naked and Afraid, they don't make you travel that far. So is there like, you got to stay in a spot for so many days? Like, because if it's 21 miles, couldn't you in theory just walk out the first day or run out, or is that's kind of like against or like defeats the purpose, right?
I mean, I guess you potentially could, but I guess it's like it's still a show. Like they want to see you survive in an area. But as far as I know, I don't think they've been doing it much. But I know, like we were nomadic, where you had to like every few days we had to keep moving along.
Mm.
And yeah, I don't know, like we definitely had a lot of freedom in the show, like to kind of do what we wanted. Yeah, if that makes sense. But
that's good.
I guess
that they allow you to kind of make it what you guys want it to be.
Yeah, like to be honest, yeah, like, we threw out the bee. I guess we didn't even really suggest it. It was like, and maybe Samantha really wanted the honey, so I was like, we're going to get some honey. It's just like, and then the camera crew, yeah, they basically just, I don't know how to explain it, but basically if you have an idea and you want to go do something, that they'll just follow you and film you, basically is how it works. Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice because,
and if and then that's why sometimes on episodes you'll see like someone wants to sit in their shelter and not do anything. And yeah, like they just film the experience that happens out there, if that makes sense. Because I totally understand, like there's days where you literally don't have the energy to do anything, and then I guess you know, like I guess you're never out there on you don't know what's happening for someone else when you're watching that show. You don't know what's going on for them. But yeah, like I guess our show was really kind of based and designed to be like nomadic. Mm-hmm. So that's what we did, you know. And I was excited. I was cool about, you know, and it was a bloody big distance. And then I think, yeah, we ended up traveling in the river because it was cooler to basically, you know, let the water carry you along. But if we wanted to like walk through the desert to get to extraction, well, they would have been okay with that. They'd been like, rightio. But I can tell you, yeah, if water was an option to travel through the water, that's what I want to do. Like, oh yeah, you know. But if we wanted to like walk through the desert, yeah, like they would have been okay. If we're like, oh, we want to walk through the desert to get to extraction, they would have been like, well, okay. Like they're just there to film you and whatever you decide you want to do. So
it's nice because filming yourself, like survival is hard, but then you mix in like filming yourself while surviving, and yeah, just sometimes it can take away from the experience because your mind isn't fully submerged. You're not fully present and focusing on like making the best decisions. You're kind of in the back of your mind thinking about like camera equipment and stuff like that. So I know for me, it's like, I always consciously make a choice. Am I filming any of this or am I leaving all my electronics out? It's like gotta be, for me, it's kind of one or the other because I just don't like thinking about it. Personally, I like no filming and no cameras better than, I have more fun on those trips than anything else.
To be honest, in like the last 4 years that I've been traveling Australia, it's been like one of the biggest battles for me. Like, people send me messages like, you know, they want to see certain things that I do, but I really struggle to actually, and that's why I haven't really, and that's why it was cool to do Naked and Afraid, you know, because like, you know, there's a film crew that record your journey. You haven't got to, you definitely film yourself, you know, like probably more of the show you're actually filming yourself than the camera crew because they're only there for like a very small portion of the day, really. Mm. Like early morning, late afternoon, nighttime, like there's no camera crew there. You're doing it all yourself. But one thing I've found is like, yeah, if you're going, like, say you're going on like some hike and you're recording yourself or whatever as you're doing the hike, it really takes you away from the experience. Mm-hmm. It's like you're not really in the present moment. You're not really there. But when you don't have your phone or camera or whatever, like you can just fully be in that experience, and it's a lot more enjoyable that way. But at the same time, it's like, I guess, as you know, like potentially with this stuff being a potential career business path, like you have to show you have to show some of your adventures, I guess, to you know, draw people in and you know, at least, and it is cool to show some of the stuff you do. But yeah, I really get that. It is cool that you make that decision. Like, oh, you know, am I filming this today or am I just going to enjoy it? Because I definitely resonate with that. Because yeah, totally. Like, to be honest, what I do more often than not, I'm more likely to just take a camera, like have my experience. If something comes across, I'm like, oh, like this would be cool to like get a photo of this, do that, but not really film so much. Like just try to, you know, yeah, I get what you're saying.
That's a good look too. I think, yeah, there's different ways to do it. I always like when like pictures or videos come out. I just don't like doing it, you know? It's like when I have documented, I'm like, oh man, like I'm gonna be able to look back at this one day and be happy about that. But in the moment, I'm like, I really just don't want to deal with this.
I guess normally for me, how it works is I just have a lot of adventures. To be honest, I really don't show much of what I actually do. I do so much more that never get, like, I never take photos or I never show people. But say I jump on a crocodile and catch a crocodile, I'm probably like, oh, this, like, probably should get a photo of this to like prove that it happened.
Yeah, I've seen your ones holding up that crocodile. That was insane. That's why I draw the line, man. I don't know about all that. I guess just because I don't have the experience with those animals, but to me it seems like you're one quick movement away from a finger loss or something like that. Maybe it's not the case.
Yeah, definitely. Like I've nearly been killed killed by animals before, like hunting wild pigs here. Like one of the boars gored me.
Wow.
So yeah, like that was a bit of a close call. Yeah, there's probably like a bit more to the story, but yeah, like bow hunting one of the wild boars here. Yeah, the hunt just didn't go like it should have. And yeah, I got too close to the pig, and yeah, like it ripped me up. But I've definitely got plenty of scars from animals and stuff, like, yeah, you definitely get hurt doing some of the crazy stuff sometimes.
Yeah, in Australia, it's like nothing, there isn't really any chill animals. Every animal there, it seems like, can mess you up in one way or another.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy, like, you hear about that, but then, like, you guys have, like, bears and mountain lions and wolves and stuff, so it's like you got your fair share of, like, animals you wouldn't want to get on the wrong end of either.
Yeah, I think it's just, like, the creepy crawlies. Like, that's the perception of Australia, is, like, snakes, spiders, lizards, like, things like that you wouldn't necessarily see coming. That's, like, that's at least where my mind goes. I've never been to Australia. Hope to go, but...
Yeah. No, you definitely have to come over for an adventure, man. But I don't know. I think it's like, because I guess we live here, or you get used to the animals and where they are and what you got to do to avoid them, so to speak. So it's like, it's not really, I guess it's just like you just get used to it, for sure.
Have you ever had like a bad snake bite?
Touch wood. No, I don't tend to, because usually where I am, I'm usually by myself. I'll grab a lot of pythons and non-venomous snakes. I've definitely probably got a little bit too close to some of our snakes. We've got one we call, I guess people call it the mulga or the king brown. Like very, very aggressive, deadly snake. Like you got a one-way ticket out of this planet if you get bitten by that.
Oh no.
Yeah, I've been pretty close. I've even got mates that I'd say are crazier than me. Like they'll go pick up those snakes out in the bush. But it's different to do it where I am. Like if you're closer to town, I guess you got like, you do get bitten. You've got that slight comfort to know that potentially you might get an anti-venom shot, or like you've got a hospital that's close-ish. Where I am, I don't really have that option. So like I'll definitely play with animals that I feel more comfortable with. But, like I've still got to be careful. Like even for instance, when that wild pig attacked me, I was 3 hours from the remote Indigenous community hospital. And the funny was, so like when its tusk pierced my hand didn't work. So I basically just had to immobilize my hand one-handed, like walked out of the bush, got back to my car. Like I was still like a couple hours from town, drove back into town. And then even then, I had like a massive wait at the hospital. And then I still, in the end, didn't actually have anything done to my hand.
How did that work? Did you pack it full of like any antiseptic? What was the fix in the meantime for those couple hours when you had to drive there?
Yeah, I didn't do anything, to be honest. I just grabbed like a bit of I think I grabbed a t-shirt or something and just wrapped my hand in a t-shirt and just drove back to town. So that was me. It was a good experience in that way too, to be like, I need to be a little bit more prepared with like a first aid kit and a bit of stuff like that. So
yeah, one of those little first aid kits that you can just they're lightweight. Those can go a long way. Yeah. Like I've made a point to have that stuff more readily available now. And actually, it was after I got gored by that pig. I don't know if it's like 100% reliable and it'd save your life, but there's like this small portable GPS location beacon trigger thing I've got, or what's it called? It's like a land-based EPIRB. Okay.
And to be honest, I still haven't been carrying that stuff around with me when I've been out. But depending, like on some of my bigger hikes or bigger bushwalks and stuff I do, because I am so remote, when I remember, I'll take the EPIRB with me. Then potentially, if you do get mortally injured, you can flick the switch and hope someone comes. You know, like, I mean, I don't know exactly how it works, but it's just like you flick the switch and someone will show up, hopefully.
Yeah, I've been toying with that idea. So I have a lot of, you know, like my aunts and my mother, they're always, you know, obviously, you know, they're worried about you, and they're worried about people that are walking around by themselves in the woods. It's what they do. So I understand that part. But for me, I don't usually carry that gear. I used one. My aunt let me borrow hers, and I used it because we were going on a long backcountry hike, and we actually had a super close encounter with a bear. No one got hurt, but I was, you know, an arm's length away from a bear that was pretty aggressive. It was eating a dead horse, and I actually had that thing on me. And I was like, wow, maybe this is a good idea to start bringing one. And then I get back, and I saw how much they are, and it just kind of priced me out of it. And I was like, there's no way. They're like hundreds of dollars, and then you got to like pay a subscription to make sure the satellite like keeps working. And I'm like, this is too much. I'm not interested. And I think that was kind of how I got turned off. It was like, there needs to be an easier solution for people like you to just go and like, I feel like Elon Musk maybe is working on it, but
actually, that's great. I mean, like, to think about some of the wild animals we have, the idea of like being in the, you know, nature and then running into a bear is just like mind blowing to me. Like, that just seems like one of the craziest situations that like anyone could get into, is like going face to face with a bear. But
yeah, I had another one anyway. Come. I was in my camper, and it came. I was walking around outside, and it was blackout, and I guess we basically walked past each other, but I didn't know he was there because, you know, they just woke up here in Colorado. So we walked past each other, and then I got up in my car and was laying down with my dog, and she starts going crazy. And sure enough, there's a black bear right outside. So they're all over here. They're very food motivated, and yeah, you can't avoid them. So yeah, it is what it is.
When you were saying about like the getting priced out of that safety device you were talking about, I found the same thing here. And that's, I mean, like, it's crazy to get priced out of something, especially if it's like, if you could run into a bear or something. I was looking into like a satellite phone or a sat phone. And it's crazy, you know, like you've got to make sure it's charged. So that's like one aspect of it. It's like you got to make sure it's charged. Then you have to like have the prepaid or credit to even be able to use the thing. There's like a few aspects, and then it's like the price of that device is absolutely crazy. So that's what got me onto and then the thing is too, like, what if you got into a situation and you grab your phone and the bloody thing doesn't work or something, or it's like flat battery, or I don't know, you know, like there's so many what ifs. I thought in the situation too, like say, you know, my leg fell off or something like that happened, I really probably am not going to want to be mucking around trying to work out how to use a phone to make a phone call. So that's what really drew me to that land-based EPIRB, is it literally like, yeah, you grab it, it's got like a 10-year battery, like the battery is meant to last for like 10 years or something.
Wow.
So like you got a fair bit of time to use it in. Like, I don't think I'd keep it for 10 years. I'd probably upgrade it before then, but it's actually very reasonable, like in price. Like they're very affordable. I think mine, I don't even know if it was like, I mean, I don't know the price difference, but anyway, it was very, very cheap basically for a safety device. And then literally you just flick the button, it just sends out a emergency signal, and then they'll either send a helicopter or PLB. I think someone's put there, like personal locator beacon, something like that. And like at least, like you don't know who's coming, and then they don't know what the emergency is. So that's the only downside, is that like they'll send the cavalry in to come get you potentially, even if it was just like a broken toe or something if you flick the button. But that's why I figure, like, usually in most situations I'll just work it out myself anyway. But like, say I did get, my arm eaten by a bear or something like that, you can flick the button and you know they're just going to send everything at you.
Yeah,
and it's affordable too,
Yeah, it's good to know. I think I've been irresponsible in that way. I think there's times where I think that to myself, like, man, I should have one of those personal beacons on. But, it is what it is. Everything's gone smooth so far. So, those are definitely something I'm going to look into moving forward. What was so someone asked, what was the name of that device?
Yeah, I think they're right. It's like a PLB. I don't know if that's exactly what it was called here, but yeah, it's something like that. Definitely, I think that's pretty bang on what it's called. I also watched that movie, was it 24 Hours or something, where old mate cuts his arm off. I was like, somewhere over there.
I'm using Moab, which is just like a couple hours away from me.
Yeah, that's what I thought. It's like, you know what, might just buy the little locator beacon at least. Potentially, if I got into some situation like that, I won't be cutting my leg or my arm off.
Yeah, that'd be a hard day for sure. So what's next for Adam Kavanagh? You got the Naked and Afraid thing. You didn't fail, which is great. It all went well, probably better than you expected. Yeah. And what's next for you? Back to the bush, or are you gonna do more TV classes? What's up?
Yeah, I think I'm in the process of definitely. I mean, like, I can't wait to get over there. Catch up. There's some pretty cool crew in the survival bushcraft scene over there. Like Corey Hawk, like Organic Archer, Donnie Dust.
Yeah, they both gonna
yeah, Matt Graham. Like, all the guys you've had on, they're all guys that I've talked to, and I'd love to catch up with them. And potentially I've even offered to them, like, they, anytime they want to come over here, there's an open-ended invitation for them to come over here and catch up with me here. Potentially in the future, like when that's possible, definitely I'm keen to get over there and catch up, with yourself, like just some of those guys. Or at this stage, I'm in the process of I think I'm going to run some workshops here in Australia. So yeah, I'll do a few little bushcraft, little workshops around some of the stuff that I've done, like very basic stuff. And I think, just keep doing the adventures, and then potentially, like I've talked with my partner, Samantha, like we'd love to get back on and either do like an XL or, have another crack at a different episode of Naked and Afraid. Like I'd love to have another crack at it. Or, we'll see what happens. There's potentially an Australian TV show I might be able to get onto here. Okay. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm just nothing really set in stone here, but it'll definitely involve bushcraft, survival, and outdoor adventures.
Yeah, that's what I like to hear. I mean, if you come over this way, I don't have much of a home, but my door is always open figuratively. So yeah, definitely would be great to get all the guys back together. It's been kind of weird with COVID and everything, like the gatherings and the primitive skills workshops are just kind of starting to ramp back up. So I think now we're kind of we're getting to a clearing, at least. It seems like this whole thing is dying down. So hopefully everything gets back to normal and we can have big parties in the bush again. So that would be awesome. And I definitely, Australia and New Zealand are the two places I've never been that I really, really want to go.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like I'd be keen to go to New Zealand myself at some stage, but yeah, likewise, man, I'd be keen to go over there and catch up with you and all your crew, or likewise, if you come over this way, you'll have to let me know. We'll plan an adventure.
Yeah, we'll make it happen for sure. So what's I got to ask, what's the XL version of Naked and Afraid? Is that different? So like in terms of how they run the show? Yeah, so in general, it's like, one man, one woman, 21 days. That's the basic starter point of the show, is like the 21 days. The XL is 40 days. And then I think recently a few people in the Naked and Afraid world have done a 60-day XL. So it's like 21 days, 40 days, then a few people have done 60 days. So to be honest, I'd love to jump on the 40 and the 60 potentially if it happens again. Like I'd love to get back on. I don't know exactly how it works, so hopefully, I can get back on. Or yeah. Anyway, Samantha and I have talked about it. Like we were both keen to like have another crack at the experience. So we'll see what happens in the future. Awesome. Well, you guys crushed it, so I don't see why they would say no. I would definitely, like, if you were going to tell me that you guys were going to be out there for 40, I would have thought you guys would have, it's tough, it's not, none of it's going to be easy, but you guys both seem like headstrong individuals that are, not going to be easily deterred from a goal like that.
Yeah. I mean, it's like one thing you don't see on the other side of that show. It's like there's definitely like long lasting health consequences from doing the show. So it's like definitely not something you jump into lightly. Like even the 21 days for sure, like there's health side effects from doing something like that you don't really hear about, or you don't see from watching the show, but from doing it, yeah, it's like, it's this crazy thing. Like, even if you survive the 21 days in the show, there's like, you're probably going to have some long lasting health effects. Some can be permanent, but I don't know. People don't really hear about that side of things. So the longer you're out there, potentially the more danger you're in of like having more complications. Yeah. So yeah, like even the 40 days, like not something I'd jump into lightly. Like it'd be brutal. Like to be honest, I don't even know how they've done the 60 days, to be honest. Like 21 days messed me up. So even 40, like, yeah, I'm keen to have a crack at it, but
yeah, it'd be tough for sure, man. It's no joke. It's a crazy experience. I think they're doing a good job though, with like the survival TV stuff in general. I've had a lot of people from Alone on here and Naked and Afraid, and it seems like, that they're all pretty legit shows, like just from what I've heard.
Oh yeah.
So we got a question right there. If you want to answer it, do you have any lasting health issues from your 21 day?
Yeah, so that's also from another Naked and Afraid participant, JP. To be honest, I guess it's more like mental stuff's been what's happened for me. And like, not like I'd say like, not like depression or anything like that. But before doing the show, I used to do a lot of fasting. So I'd do like, 3, 4, 5 day fasts, like just water fasts. I haven't been able to fast since doing the show. Like it's so hard. Like after basically, like I said, like even when you have food out there, it's not much. So then when you do come back into civilization, you got access to food again. Like, yeah, I don't know. I've done like some day fasts and stuff, but I haven't been. I mean, I probably could increase it now. I just after doing the show, that's definitely one thing that I'd say has been there. Is the ability to fast has really gone for me. But yeah, we'll see as time goes on. Maybe I'll be able to add that back in. But thankfully, I haven't had too many health issues. Like, yeah, I have heard of other people, having some maybe some more serious stuff. But thankfully at this stage, like nothing too crazy. Like maybe there's a few little things, but yeah, nothing too serious. Maybe just like complaining about not being able to fast, which is probably not something that most people would do anyway. So
yeah, it's only crazy people like yourself that are probably working on those things anyways. So
yeah.
Well, Adam, it's been a pleasure to have you on, man. This was a lot of fun. I can definitely say that you, my friend, are wild, and I look forward to seeing your adventures in the future. And definitely hit me up if you ever skip across the pond. I'll be here in the woods. So
awesome. Likewise, man. Yeah, thank you heaps for having me on, man. It's been a good little chat.
Awesome. All right, man. Well, happy Thursday over there. And it looks like it's got to be morning time. So enjoy the rest of your day. And we'll see you next time.
Awesome.
All right.
Later, awesome. Man. Thanks, man. Talk to you soon.